Hey everyone, welcome to AfterBuzz TV's pilot review. This is the show where we review new pilots and tell you whether to pass or play. Tonight we're going to be talking about the pilot of Liar. We have a lot to say, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello again, AfterBuzzers. Thanks for tuning in to our new pilot review after show here at AfterBuzz TV. I am your host, Sam Davidson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SamD43. We're missing Jeff tonight. He sends his love, but I, of course, have the awesome DeAnjilo here.
Yo, what's up? I love this song.
It's a great song.
Marvin Gaye has a song for every mood. We needed
does.
something a little bit more serious for the show,
Yeah.
and Marvin Gaye got it done.
It took a minute, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, do you want me to actually, I
Of
can
course,
introduce myself
introduce
to everyone.
yourself,
Yeah.
DeAnjilo.
What's up, guys? You can hit me up on Twitter. I'm DeAnjilo. I'm DeAnjilo TV on Twitter and at DeAnjilo on Instagram. Feel free to hit me up. Where can they find you?
And SamD43, Twitter and Instagram. And, you know, of course, follow us at AfterBuzz TV. Rate, review, subscribe, comment on the YouTube videos. This is a lot about hearing what you guys think of these new pilots. So keep it coming, because it also depends on if we have more conversations about it within AfterBuzz here. Like I said, we're going to be talking about Liar tonight.
Yeah.
I know, so it was hard for us to not talk about it before, and I know Jeff had very strong opinions, which we'll share as well. But overall, what did you think, DeAnjilo?
Well, you know, we did The Mayor last week, which again you guys can check out for our review of that pilot.
Yes.
I was on the negative with that one. I feel more positively towards this show and the writing. I won't give my pass or play yet, but I definitely have positive things to say today.
I do as well, but at the same time, when, you know, we decided to watch this, I was like, man, I don't know if I'm in the mood for this today.
It is a mood one. That's so true. Yeah.
My roommate literally yelled in my room and was like, what British drama are you watching, you freak?
Yeah, I had to say I got the same reaction.
And yours joined you, I guess.
Yeah, they ended up walking towards the television, which is always a good sign.
Yeah, it is. You know, it had a very, very good cast overall. But I guess before we get into cast, like we said, you liked it. I enjoyed it. I don't know if it's something I would be like, I want to watch this right now. I'm so excited. With that being said, it is a 6-part miniseries, I believe, on the Sundance channel.
Great idea.
Yeah. And the first 2 episodes are available for free if you go to the website, Sundance's website. So that's pretty cool. I didn't watch the 2nd episode, though, because, you know, we're a spoiler-free kind of after show.
Yeah.
We'll give you a warning when we're going to get into spoiler territory.
Yes.
But
We'll give it a little preliminary for you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, would you like me to get into the press and play for you? Or
sure,
just, we can just throw them out there?
Get into press or play.
See, the press, I realized that my test for press or play is if I actually check to see if there are more episodes for the remainder of the season, which I did for this one, which is a play, which makes it a play for me. I think this, it gave me enough for a pilot to care about what's going on, which is very difficult because this is a show that is, as you said, heavy. And so they have a lot to explain, but I really love the sequencing.
I do too. I think it was a beautiful show as far as the way it was acted, the way it looked, the writing. But just me personally, I love at least a little bit of comedy thrown into my drama.
Oh, that would have been tough. That would have been tough for this one.
But it would have been quite inappropriate. Because it's 6 episodes, I would still say I would play. Yeah. Because I do want to know if this lady is telling the truth.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, you know, with these kind of things, it does make me nervous sometimes to talk about these kinds of issues. And that's why, in a way, I wish I knew.
Yeah, so you can know how to feel and how to say about the episode.
Because
that will influence it for the most part, you think so? How you feel about the show.
Exactly. You know, I want to be careful, but especially as a woman, you know, you don't want to shame another woman ever. But at the same time, I mean, there are crazy people out there, man or woman. Yeah. And they can do crazy things.
I think that's very well said, and I'm trying to say this without spoiling it, but being in the room with 3 or 4 guys and watching this, our perspective is a little, I mean, I feel like we all had different perspectives, but even still, our view is a little different. And so I also am wanting to tread lightly and respect the situation, but that's why I love the show, putting something like this that's so controversial and universal at the forefront for a conversation and including it in the show and making it entertaining very ambitious, and I think they're on the right track based on the first pilot episode.
Yeah, and I mean, so the people behind this show are pretty big people
names,
as far as the creators and the actors. This is an original 6-part miniseries. A lot of times now, miniseries comes with different connotations. It used to be miniseries, it's over once it's over. But now think about the Emmys. I mean, we have limited series, but at the same time, these limited series go on for years.
Exactly, and they're drawn out. And so we don't know what, I'm hoping, early hopes is that they do know when to end it. You know what I mean? Because I think that's great when you have a finished product as opposed to trying to make money and keeping it drawn out. A show that I enjoyed that did the miniseries I did was Shots Fired earlier on Fox, but I'm hoping that that's the idea as well.
Yeah, and I think generally British shows are a bit different in that regard, but the American miniseries has in a way, turned into the anthology series like American Horror Story per se. I wouldn't be opposed to them doing a Liar series,
for different controversial topics.
Exactly.
I was actually discussing that with my roommate because he was like, "Oh, is this it?" I know we got real deep. We did a lot of pausing in between, which is horrible, but
that's pretty cool. These 3 men are just sitting here.
Hey, college degrees. We a little philosophical. No, but I think. We were discussing that because I was like, "Oh no, this 6 episodes, that's it." And he's like, "No, it could be like a Black Mirror, which apparently I haven't watched, but it does that same idea." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't think about that."
Yeah, so. It definitely could. The creators of the show are Harry and Jack Williams, who also created the huge hit The Missing, and it does have some similarities to Liar. I've seen part of The Missing. There is something, just me personally, about these A&E, AMC dramas that can be a bit heavy for me, and I'm thinking maybe in 10 years I'll be a little bit more, my tastes will be a little bit more mature. Actually, they'll never be mature to like these kinds of shows. But I am impressed because a lot of British shows like this do bore me, and I would agree. That is why I don't watch Downton Abbey, whom the star of the show actually is in Downton Abbey. Joanne, Froggatt. I'm sure that's not how you say it. But yeah, she was in that show, and I was impressed with this show that it did keep my attention.
That's what I was going to ask you. How does that compare then? How does this show compare to?
I was worried the first scene because, the first scene was kind of like atmospheric and, we're just supposed to know what's happening. Oh,
they
hello.
were definitely setting the scene. Yeah. I was like,
good day, good day.
That's so true.
I'm like, what the heck?
They could have lost people in those first 5 minutes because it was just like, okay, what's happening?
Yeah.
And Americans, sometimes they want something blowing up pretty quickly. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm here for.
Yeah, there also something to be said about somebody like me who does like female-driven content, and I do think that was perhaps part of the reason that I really was caught on quicker. I think because I'm following a woman, I'm kind of following her emotions. That's good. And so that is where they got me. And also a mystery. Yeah. I love mysteries. It's not a murder mystery, but it certainly is a mystery.
Sure. Was it a press or play for you? I don't remember.
It's a play.
It's a play. Okay, because I don't know if we got that out to the viewers.
I think it's
a play. All right. But with the question mark at the end, I'm hearing.
It's just, if I'm in the mood to play this kind of content. But for all of you guys out there that like shows like The Missing, Downton Abbey, and there's another British show that The Fall, that I think it starred the star of 50 Shades of Grey, Jamie Doran. I'm blanking on how you say his last name, but he was also in it, and it was a mystery as well. I believe that was a murder mystery, but that kind of content I know a lot of people love. So for those of you that like that, I would for sure press play on this. You're gonna like it. We also have, let's see, I practiced saying his name before, and I'm a big fan of his, actually. Eon.
Yes, from
No, it's not Eon. It's so funny.
It's not? Oh, I've always called him Eon.
Yeah, it's it's spelled very different than it's pronounced. It's like Griffith, his last name is actually something like that. But he is the one that plays Andrew.
Yes,
and
the accused in the
situation. Accused, a very charming, and what I found very interesting about his character is that you'd think throughout this whole pilot, they would at least make him seem guilty for a second. But to me, they didn't. I'm like, this guy is...
You at the end, really? I mean, without the spoiler, with the final detail that came before the end of the episode, you still felt like he looked innocent?
I felt like he looked a lot more innocent than she did.
Wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Two different perspectives here.
It is very interesting. We have Zoe Tapper, who plays Katie, who's Laura's older sister.
Who I was loving
And-
until we had a plot
Yeah.
twist in there, and I was
Had some drama there.
Who can I root for now?
That's a big issue I have with shows sometimes. I want to know who to root for. Just give me one person, please. I
Yeah.
need to trust somebody. And I'm not trusting anybody
Yeah,
at
agreed.
this point.
Oh, how way too close to life is that one?
Oh God.
But we're gonna get deep for another week.
Yeah, it's very close.
Yeah.
We have Warren Brown as Tom Bailey, who's Laura's ex-boyfriend and someone else's ex, without giving spoilers. And there's just a cast of very talented,
Very
mostly
talented.
British actors, and a lot of whom we've seen before.
Yep.
So we've talked a little bit about the characters and their kind of, do we trust them, do we not trust them? But did you think that they were intelligently portrayed as extremely flawed human beings? That's how I felt, which is why I liked it.
I believed them. I definitely believed them as characters. I think they've delivered. I think every show we've done so far, the people who have been picked for the role have delivered in what was expected of them. And in this show, I think it's a lot of character dynamic. For a 60-minute show, they had to exhibit a lot. So that's counting on delivering as an actor and writing. And I would say that it seems like, I'm trying to think of a critique because I don't want to just give all positives.
Yeah.
But it was very difficult for me to find one other than maybe the fact that the show's heavy.
Yeah, and a lot of people like heavy shows. They enjoy it.
I love them.
Talking about the overall plot, is this something that, you're obviously interested in seeing, or is it too heavy? Is it a little bit too touchy? Do you think it should maybe come with a trigger warning even for women out there?
Interesting. I think it's the perfect. TV is exactly, this is what I want from TV. I like to be either really goofy or like to be stimulated, and to have these such topics. And I think it is touchy, and that's exactly why I think it should be touched on. For lack of better terms. Yes, to answer your question, but I think that's exactly why they did it, and I agree with it because, I'm not sure how it's going to go from here, but from my view in this episode, there was a point where I was like, oh, the guy did it, and then there's another point where I'm like, oh, maybe he didn't do it. And I like that because I think my worldview and world experiences is why I felt a certain way from my first opinion.
Yeah.
And so now I'm thinking how is that contradictory, or thinking about why I feel that way. And maybe that's not their goal, but I'm an over analytical person anyway, so that's happening. And if that is what they're looking to do, I think that's very impressive for a TV show.
Yeah, and I think the creators of the show, they just want to get something out of the audience.
Exactly.
And I think they did that for most of the people that watched it. This is where, guys, spoiler alert, we will get into some spoilers.
Yes.
If you...
It was hard enough to not spoil, guys.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but look, y'all gotta go if y'all want to check out the rest of the episode because we spoiling it.
Yeah, get out of here, guys. Because, talking about these spoilers and what actually happens in this episode is very important in discussing this series as a whole and these characters. So we learn a lot of things, one of which is that Laura is a bit mentally unstable. It's Laura, right?
Yes, Laura.
Yeah.
You said that right.
She
has a past medical history.
And I'm sorry, just watching this, I called that from a mile away.
Really? I didn't see that. That's maybe a bad thing for me.
For somebody to, wake up, and I understand, a woman's body, you wake up and something happened and you don't remember.
Right.
But she's going and accusing this man and saying, and he goes, you didn't say no. And she's like, I did. And she goes, wait, did I? She doesn't remember anything.
She said she didn't remember, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you know that you said no if you didn't say anything out loud? I mean, if you don't remember what happened that night. Which that was why, and I have, I'm gonna say my opinion, but at the same time, in these situations, generally speaking, you side on the female. You know what I mean? I feel like from a social standpoint. But the fact that she said when she woke up she didn't remember, but then she was so adamant that she said no, I was kind of in my head like, how do you know that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that was interesting to go on a tangent.
I agree. And the fact that he is very, he had a nice time. And I know that there are plenty of, men that have sexually assaulted or raped women, and in their minds,
it was nothing. Yeah.
Nothing happened. Nothing went wrong. But in a way, this woman was playing 2 to 3 different characters. You know, we see her at first, and she's breaking up with her boyfriend that she's known since she was 13 years old. He's moving out, and we'll get into him next. But she's kind of like low-key chill about it.
Right.
And, you know, she's a teacher. We see this whole other side of her. And then she's just this happy-go-lucky, excited woman, kind of, and just wants to date and see the world.
Right.
And, you know, then we see her, this totally different person the next morning.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm like,
Well, I mean, that happens when you.
Well, of course it does.
You know, I mean, I think that influenced that for sure, right?
It does, but to me, I'm thinking like I literally saw 3 different women.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Yeah, I think that's a very good point. And that can make it maybe more difficult to support her. Is that kind of I can see that for sure. You know, I really like the way they cut the scenes after that. Like even how they incorporated the flashbacks, but also how when she woke up and when he was at the coffee, like their days were completely different. Like how they paralleled that. You know what I mean? He's thinking, I had a great day, can't wait to see her again, and she's in the shower, like walking in the rain. Like it's just such a parallel, and it's very, very interesting way of how they exhibited that, and it made you, you know, feel emotions towards him, like you kind of like are feeling bad now, you know, which is weird because he is the accuser. You never really feel those emotions towards a person like that.
Yeah, you know, it depends on, like, I've watched a lot of TV shows and a lot of movies, but in general, as a woman, I do want to side with the woman, and I don't necessarily, and I feel guilty saying that, especially on the air. But at the same time, I think that's what we're supposed to feel. But then if it turns out he did, then God, am I going to feel bad? Yeah. I'm going to feel so bad.
I mean, something's at the end, and this is a heavy spoiler, but when she opens up the dishwasher, that was the first moment I was like, oh, he's crazy. He's crazy. Because the whole time I was like, oh, it wasn't him, because it didn't seem like it. But, you know, again, you can never go by a persona. But when she opened up the dishwasher, I was like, no, like, that's it. I'm on her side. It's going to take a lot for me to come back now.
I don't know. That did not sell it for me.
Really? I mean, it was only 2 dishes in the dishwasher. Yeah. And we didn't see him pour.
We didn't see a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they did it on purpose, but...
Because, I mean, in a way, this is her narrative. It's coming from
very true.
Her
perspective,
so we're kind of seeing bits and pieces as they're coming to life. And, I mean, it could be one of those situations where, she's lying, but then she doesn't mean to be lying, and she's just very confused. But I want somebody to be, like, real dirty here, you know? I want them to be not good and kind of be, you know, sneaky and doing things to the other characters to manipulate them.
Yeah.
I always find psychopaths or sociopaths extremely entertaining to watch on television.
It's compelling, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
If you had to pick the sociopath in this, would you right now, your guess would be her or him?
I think that it's her, and I think it might be her for some reasons. I think she also might be convincing herself and confusing herself, but we find out that her sister, who's like her best friend, who she seems to go to for everything, who is she married or she just has a child?
No, they look married. They look very, very married.
She looks pretty married.
So she's having an affair with her ex-boyfriend, who said
with Laura. Yeah, with Laura's ex-boyfriend.
Ex-boyfriend, who said that he broke up with her for her.
Yeah.
So that's a plot twist if I ain't seen one before.
Exactly. And I mean, maybe Laura knew this.
Yeah.
And she somehow plotted this, and she picked the man to, you know, that someone that I believe her sister knew.
Man, that would be heavy though, because
this is a heavy show.
Yeah, I know. Their first interaction though, I wouldn't know, because it didn't seemed organic. You know what I mean? But maybe she ployed it. You never know.
It always does. And I mean, like I said about that first scene, it's just like, oh, la-di-da, what's going on? Just someone's day. This is boring.
Right.
But was it boring?
Right.
Or was it calculated?
That's true. That first scene, people love to do that with the writing. So I mean, look, it's so much. There's so much there. I would add to similar shows that I felt when I watched it. Not that it's similar style from a serious standpoint. I really like the show called A Man in a High Castle on Amazon Prime.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it's just heavy like that. It's just like, the more you watch it, the more questions happen. For me, that keeps me coming back, because I'm thinking about it during the day. I'm like, man, I wonder if this happened. So if you like shows like that, I feel like this is a show for you. But if you want stuff to be resolved, and if you want someone to root for, you ain't watching the right show.
I mean, you can't even root for her freaking sister.
No, who I was feeling for the first 30 minutes or so, and then...
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
And, you know, of course, themes of the show are things about women's issues, social issues, rape, you know, what defines rape, what defines saying no or saying yes. Like, what are, you know, for instance, I gotta keep on forgetting the character's name, Andrew said that he went to go get a condom and she just kind of sat there and she was fine. And, you know, it's a huge stigma, but, you know, everyone, you need kind of like a yes. But we did see the way that she was behaving towards him before this encounter happened.
He was getting that mental yes, because very, very rarely in those situations do you get a yes. Like, you know what I mean? Especially on that first time. Like, that's not something that's common, and that is always what the issue is. You know what I mean? And I think what was interesting when they had that in-person interaction when he came to the classroom, he was like, maybe you meant to say that, but you didn't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was very adamant about that, to which I was with him until the idea of him drugging her came up, and I was like, well, then she couldn't have done anything.
Well, I knew what the show was about before I watched it, and as I was watching that scene of him pouring the wine, I was like looking very closely at my computer, rewinding it, and I'm like,
see anything?
Who's pouring? How is this happening? What glass is he giving her? But I also just want to mention the part where she sends his son to the headmaster's office. And all these characters are way too interconnected for this, in my mind, to kind of not be something's up here.
I agree with you.
Yeah, between the sister, the ex-boyfriend, you know, this guy and his son. And that scene really got me when he went to go talk to her in the classroom.
I thought so too. That was bold. Very, very bold. And now that can make you think either he's really innocent or really guilty, however you view it.
But, like, why? And he even says that, you know, why would he come in there? Why would he talk to her? Why would he do all of these things if he was guilty? But then you think of someone that's a sociopath.
Didn't that make sense? Exactly. That's where my brain's been at since we've seen that.
Guys, we are such big fans of TV here that, like, we seriously think of everything.
Every outcome.
Yeah. I mean, there are some shows I do hear, I come up with the craziest theories, and it's like, nope, they're just kind of normal.
Right. You're like, oh.
I'm like, oh, dang.
Yeah, I mean, that makes good TV, though.
Well, okay, so out of 5, what do you give it?
Oh, man, 1 out of 5. I need to become more concrete in my reasons, but I gave The Mayor, like, a 1. And I think I gave our first show a 4. So I'm going to give it like a 3.75. Actually, I'm going to give it a 4.
Yeah, you really liked it.
I liked it, yeah. I'm not going to give it a 5. It wasn't perfect. Definitely some things to improve on there, but it's just a pilot episode. But I give it above a 3 because I want to continue to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm gonna
go, 3.5 but I think it probably deserves more.
Yeah.
But just because it might not be my style necessarily.
Right.
But I think it was pretty good. Life or Death, I mean, we already know 6 episodes, it's a mini series.
Which I think makes it even more watchable because you know it's not going to be ongoing. It's like you will get a conclusion. I need conclusions in my life.
What do you think predictions for the next 5?
Oh man, I'm telling you.
Now, your AfterBuzz TV
predictions. I've been working on my voice on that one. I'm trying to like get it to the exact tone. But no. So, what was your question?
Predictions.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The music. It just got him all tied
It got
up.
me all lost my train of thought. So, my prediction is that 1, we're not gonna like either one of these guys by the end of this 6 mini episode, and I'm gonna guess the opposite of what I think is gonna actually. I think I like him right now. I think I'm not going to, and I think he's gonna be a sociopath.
Yeah.
It has to be that way. I don't see another conclusion here.
I don't know, because it is hard, like, to have a show where a woman cries rape and that's the show.
Right.
Nobody really, like, at least socially right now, that's not something I think that people necessarily want to see or want to hear. I think it's kind of like, ooh, yikes. Like, yeah, I feel kind of icky about that. So I do think, the tables will turn. And I did read somewhere that, we will know relatively quickly within the 6 episodes. So I'm assuming it has to be episode 2 or 3.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
So what's the rest of the show going to be about?
Yeah. Like who's lying and who's not lying. But, I think that her posting on his Facebook, what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
He raped me. I'm like, oh my God. You know.
That's good though. I mean.
Go ahead, yeah.
That's good though, because there's an aspect of, when it comes to rape and sexual assault, the social pressure after is worse than the case for some, you know what I mean? Whether you did it or you didn't do it. So I feel like maybe they'll be touching on that a little bit, which is good.
Yeah, and I mean, I would love to get on a crazy roller coaster ride if she's lying, following her on this like totally nutty. I'm always like psychopath or sociopath. I think that, you know, her in a way, I think they would both be sociopaths, but she would have to be real darn sociopathic, and also I think that she might be confused herself and come to realize something different. Even though we know it's only 6 episodes, and I don't, know if we could or anything, do you think this would be worth an after show or worth 6 full hour-long discussions, or do you think we kind of can talk about it here?
It's so heavy. I mean, it would be great for an after show.
Yeah.
It's really popular too, I think. So I definitely see potential for it.
Yeah, especially once we figure out what's going on, and then to dissect these characters.
And there's going to be a conclusion. I mean, that's perfect.
Yeah. So I know that, Jeff couldn't be here, but he had some very strong opinions as well, so I'm going to read them for you guys.
Jeff?
He said, I really like the show overall. I think it's tough to make a really interesting domestic drama.
Side note, I love your Jeff voice. Keep going.
Thank you. And I really admire when writers can pull it off. There's something elegant about a show that can rely fully on human interactions, set in ordinary locations, and still create tense, provocative, socially important drama. Part of the reason the show impressed me so much was for how risky it was. It was very risky. Basing an entire edge-of-your-seat drama around sexual assault is a bold move, and one that could go off the rails so quickly if it wasn't done right.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, this show is getting so much right. I'm glad a show is highlighting the gender imbalance around sexual assault, and I think it's going to create for very interesting and important conversation. Not everything is perfect. I actually think the show introduces one too many subplots, though, which I do agree with. I hope later episodes focus more on the crime and less on the peripheral characters, because I'm far less interested when they show up. That being said, this is an overall winner for me. Great performances, interesting topic, engaging dialogue. I'd also be remiss to ignore how beautifully shot this show is. The first scene of the kayaking. When I read this earlier, I laughed. Took my breath away.
Oh, God, Jeff.
I can't wait to watch the rest of this season. Highly recommend.
We could have just read that and not had this after show, and it would have got the same point across.
Hey.
I'm joking.
We love Jeff, but we're great too, guys.
Yeah, it's true.
Again, we always love to hear what you think, especially on shows like this that give so much discussion and opinion. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. Of course, we'll be back next week with a new pilot.
Yes, we will.
But one more time, where can everyone find you on social media?
Yo, you guys, hit me up on Twitter at DeAnjilo TV, at DeAnjilo on Instagram. Of course, we enjoy your guys' comments and want to know what you guys are interested in us reviewing as well. Let us know about this show, what you guys think. Yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say.
And, tweet at us, too. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SamD43, SamDavidsonEntertainment.com. We love you, Jeff. We miss you. We will see you next week. We'll all be here, so tune in next time. Thanks, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.